Hey guys, let's do the contrast. That one looks cool. Hey guys, so I think that like I was saying earlier, there's gonna be a lot of people right now, given what went on today and everything, that are gonna, well, I hope not, but there might be some people that are gonna, essentially be rude about, the situation, more than rude, regarding the attempt on the 45th. Yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. So, you have to remember, guys, that this is the sort of thing where that's how bad this has gone, So, we need to just take a step back and be a lot more, responsible about what we're saying, and how we're going about our message, why we feel the way we do and stuff like that, about our candidate, I should say. And again, not that it's not okay to feel passionate, but I feel like it's important to remember that while you feel passionate about our country and stuff like that, there's still an importance to maintaining calculated decision with that, and that in itself is what's most important. Maintaining your cool head during election times and stuff like that is really, really important. Ever more important than before. Because that's the point. We've seen just how bad it's gotten now. And we knew how tense it was, but that is just unacceptable. And just like I talked about earlier, it is unacceptable. I don't care who your candidate is. It should never get to this point, and it's wrong. Yeah, obviously that's this is where we have to start being a lot more responsible with I think just how we perceive to be when we talk about politics and stuff. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of, being a bit, I guess, overly passionate at times when talking politics. And, we just have to realize that while we feel the way we do, it doesn't really help much to sort of act that way. And then, we see the result of, essentially, for a long time now, a lot of people have just been getting worse and worse and worse with, just those feelings, instead of a calculated decision instead of, well, why do I want to vote for this person, and let's talk about that. Not not let's get into a shouting match. Not, even right when it happened, the guy, like, you see the clips of the guy like flicking off the camera and stuff. Obviously he was like condemning the shooting and stuff like that. That's important. Like, I get that, and that's how he felt at the time. Sure. So now let's back it up. Let's remember that we got to be calculated with this stuff, and just let's not get that bad. Let it get to that point, because that's just pure hate, and we don't like that. I don't like that. You shouldn't like that. Hey guys. Thanks for the likes. We got 2 likes in here. Appreciate it. Thank you. We got 2 likes. Thank you so much. How am I doing today? It was just a busy day. I'm just tired. So yeah, obviously, like, this is crazy, right? Like, this is what's on everybody's minds, what everybody's talking about. I know I couldn't believe it. I know I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was the sort of thing where I found out, I guess, like, close to an hour after it happened. It was about 45 minutes or so after it happened. Of course, I just looked it up right away to, confirm. And it's like, wow, it's everywhere. Pretty crazy. I like watching these space talk videos and stuff like that. I've been watching, like, some space talk videos and stuff. Definitely watching some like stuff on, like, different parts of the world. I was watching stuff on, like, Antarctica and stuff. But I was definitely was just, like, in the middle of, like, watching. What was it? I forget what it was, but it was like some sort of, like, something like that. It was like a space video or something. I feel like it was like. I can't remember. It was making fun of, like, it was actually a bunch of stuff. It was like, it's just like, it's so crazy that this thing happened. And so, like, that's just what's happening in my mind right now. That's all I can think about. I don't know what that means. By the way. And you keep saying that, I have no idea what that means. No, you said that before too. I have no idea what that means. So anyway, I think it was this video that this creator made on like debunking like flat earth things and stuff like that. But he was doing it in a really funny way. I remember now. That was pretty funny. Oh, okay. Oh, is that? Oh, right. Okay. It's honestly been like a long time since I watched Doctor Who, and I haven't watched like the newer Doctor Who's very much. Um, it's been a long time because I didn't watch. It's not like I watched a ton of Doctor Who or anything. Yeah, yeah. No, as soon as you said Doctor Who, I immediately realized like, oh, right. My favorite show was Quantum Leap, the original Quantum Leap. So for him, it'd be for Alec, it'd be Ziggy, right? Hits the side of it. Quantum Leap's my favorite show. A close second by Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know what's crazy? Um, if we could harness, like, if we could create Dyson spheres and harness the power of the sun, do you realize that we could have those things that they have on the Enterprise where it, like, you push a bunch of buttons and it just materializes some food? We could create that technology. But we would need, in order to understand it, we would first need that, like, we would have to have that much energy. Like, there's just no way with what we have on Earth that that we could possibly study the technology that we would need to make something like that. Which is why, like, we don't have like an Enterprise yet, and why it's sort of disappointing to learn about what you try to do with like flying cars and stuff like that. A lot of it becomes energy. A lot of it becomes well, you would need a grid, obviously, if you're flying and stuff like that. You can't just fly anywhere because then you're going to crash into houses. It's the sort of thing where like everything changes, and so like you would need, just like with Dyson spheres, you can trap the power of like our sun essentially and use the energy of the sun, and so yeah, it would just immediately change everything. Hey, what's up, no sleep? So that's what I believe we would need, because essentially what they've started to figure out. Now, hear me out here. Hear me out here. What they started to figure out is when they look down, you guys know about like protons, neutrons, and electrons, right? You guys know about atoms, right? Well, what they've figured out, what they've started to see, is when they look even further, if anybody knows about quantum physics and stuff like that, you can find quarks. Quarks are what make up protons, right? I think it's protons. Anyway, they found quarks, and they're even further in, basically, even further, even smaller than the atom itself. And so when we look into the quarks, essentially what we've started to figure out, not necessarily with our eyes, not necessarily provable per se, but more theory, more this is kind of what we're seeing, and we've a couple of very smart people have seen this, and essentially what they're seeing is they're seeing lines of code. And so, like, essentially, like, concepts like, like the Matrix and stuff like that don't seem so far-fetched, It's pretty cool stuff. Think about it like this. Why is it that for some reason we're the only ones, like we've been to space, yet very conveniently there are no other planets in our solar system that are able to inhabit life. Period. Pretty much everything is gas. Pretty much. The other planets that are closer, obviously, to the sun, Mars, that's the only one that we could really maybe put life on, because it's just a giant rock, just like the other two that are close to the sun. Now, with Venus, it's just too harsh. Yes, the point is it does have an atmosphere, and it is a planet. The point is, man, that thing is just stupid hot. And so is Mercury. Mercury is like just a big moon, basically. That moon, I use that term loosely. It looks like our moon, sort of, just really big compared to our moon. Basically, why is it that we're the only, like, the point is, when we think about what it would take for us to essentially get to another planet, like when we think about concepts of like time and how long it takes to get to something, with the James Webb Telescope, essentially, we're looking back, so many years. Essentially things are measured in light years. So, like if it's, so many light years away, that's how many years into the past, the light that you're seeing, essentially. And so the reason for that is because light takes time to travel. Okay? So just because you're using a telescope, that still doesn't mean you're there looking at it. It doesn't change anything. It's just a really big telescope. Okay? So you are where you are looking at that light. Okay? That light still has to take time to get to you. So essentially, why is that? Why are we so restricted? And then why is it so convenient that, essentially, think about anytime we like play a video game. This is what I think about. Essentially, like in a video game, when we play video games and stuff like that. You know how, like, procedural generation and, like, like you're playing in a game and it loads sort of the area that you're in. Let's say you're like playing an open world game and it loads like the area you're in, but then as you drive or as you wander around or whatever, it loads more stuff and then unloads. Essentially it's not loading, it's forgetting all the other stuff. Unload, yeah, it's forgetting the other stuff for now, so it can currently load the new stuff. Okay, so you have to think about it like that's how I think about it. Is like when you think about that constriction, it really sounds exactly like what we know about making programs and games and stuff like that, where just like if we were in a simulation, the idea is that, you know, we would start to see evidence, you know, as we would look smaller and smaller and smaller of exactly that, you know, what we saw, the code and stuff like that. But beyond that, the whole point is there would be rule sets and boundaries exactly like what we see in a computer game. Essentially, because we are here and we are bound to where we are, and those rules are set by that code. So until we can see that code and identify that code, we ain't cracking it. So that's the point. And that's why, like, quantum physics and stuff like that, the thing that really matters. But then at the same time, um you know, that's the point, is it makes sense. It's just like in a computer game, when, you know, like I said, the concept is that you move from one area to the next and it loads as you go. So the point is, well, hence why everything's so spread out. You know, it essentially would make it very easy for, you know, and for the program, the simulation, to put restrictions on, you know, the you know, whoever, whatever living beings they're doing, you know, essentially. And you know, if you have multiple galaxies and stuff like that, then they're also far enough away that even if they develop this ridiculously, insanely good technology, like we saw in Star Trek The Next Generation, there's so many episodes of that where it's like, oh, well, we have to go from here to here at warp 8 or warp 9, and warp 9 was the top. And that's 10 times, or I'm sorry, that's 9 times the speed of light. That's the point. Warp 9 was 9 times the speed of light. And they still could not reach the end of the galaxy. Like, it was like really hard to do for them to go from one end of the galaxy to the other. That's the point. And so, like, that was why it was so cool when I saw that episode where they did an episode where Q, the essentially the being of energy, he can just, like, create stuff. He shows up to mess with them sometimes, and he just, like, backhanded the ship into like, wasn't it another galaxy? I think it was. But the point was, it was like they were so far from anything they knew. And the point was, that's how advanced the technology was, and we still couldn't do it. That's how vast space is, and that's what people don't get, is just distance and numbers and things like that, and just how insane that is. Numbers that. That's why we started creating bigger numbers and having names for them, you know, because we didn't need to. But it was like, you know, trillions. Ha! What a joke. You know, hence the reason for the Kelvin scale for measuring heat. So, a very wise man once taught me, science teacher, by the way, there is no such thing as cold, and there's only less heat. So the Kelvin scale helps us measure planets that, like, essentially it's just, it'd be absurd to write out the numbers and stuff for all the, you know, math that you're going to be doing in astronomy and stuff like that. So they created a whole nother scale for Kelvin, so that way they could, it was a lot easier to do the math and stuff like that. It was less time consuming, I should say, to do the math and stuff like that. It just makes sense, you know, to scale it for space. So that's what they did. That's what Kelvin is for. There's obviously Kelvin. Um, that's like it's like for like measuring like the temperature of the sun and stuff like that, like stars and stuff. That's the point. Like a star is really just a really big explosion that takes a really long time because it's so big. Um, think about it like this. Um, think about it like this. Maybe I should put. Wait, hold on. Hold on. We need. Um. Okay, so think about it like this. On Earth, basically, a lot of times anyway. Now, I guess this is always the case, but for the most part, the larger the species, the longer it lives. It is a general rule, but like the point is on a scale of space. That's what I'm relating this to. That's the correlation essentially. Now, here's what's interesting when you compare that to like stars. That's not really the case. It is, but it isn't. So now here's where you have to essentially like remove the correlation. With a star, the larger it is sometimes, that doesn't necessarily, well, actually a lot of times that means that it's gonna boom soon. So that's the point is, like take our star for example. Eventually our star is like in a midlife cycle. Essentially, it's in the middle of its life. And what's going to happen is it's going to grow into a red supergiant. It's going to envelop Mercury and Venus. It will scorch the Earth. This can be a few million years, guys. A few million years. No worries. And the Earth will be poof. The Earth will be like volcanic rock. And then the sun will go boom. The sun will go boom, and it will be a little white dwarf, right? I think that's what it turns into. And then that's just its cycle. And so that's the point is, they have these cycles. And so ours is like right in the middle. And there's just, well, we're getting a lot of activity right now too. And there are also really interesting developments with that, where we like launched this thing be honest with you, I don't really even know what it is, except that it's something that reads the information, the energy given off by the sun. Like it just transmits that back to us. And so I guess they landed it on the surface. The sun doesn't really have a surface. It's just one really gigantic, huge, molten, explosive thing. You know, I mean, it doesn't have a surface. It's just, really hot. So anyway, the point is that we put that on the surface of the sun to transmit that information back to us so that we can get more accurate readings about, solar flares and essentially space weather. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think a lot of those developments are pretty cool. What I think is interesting to learn too is that the moon is very, very, very slowly drifting away from the Earth. Now this is something that is apparently happening very, very slowly. So it will take a long time, but it's very, very likely that eventually we will not have a moon. This will drastically change the planet. This will drastically change the planet. I've been catching up on a lot of information. What's interesting too is there's actually a lot of things that could potentially and at any time really affect pretty much the planet. And it's really crazy to think, just everything going on, and everybody's so worried about this or that, but it's like, I'm more worried about the poles shifting, essentially we're a couple of decades overdue, I think, for that. And that's the sort of thing when you look up the data on whether that's going to happen soon or not, and you actually compare it and like I'm talking about like real data, you compare it to actual real data, and then you realize just how crazy it is that it hasn't happened yet. and essentially just how correct they probably are about those things. And it's like, why aren't we all talking about this? I don't get it. I guess because if it happens, it's the sort of thing where it's kind of there's really no hope anyway. Does that kind of make sense to you? So it would all happen in less than a day. Wouldn't be like the movie 2012. It wouldn't be like that, not at all. It would actually be probably far worse. So it's the sort of thing where just think about it like this. Consider how fast the Earth is spinning. Consider what would happen if suddenly the Earth shifted on its side. With gravity, what it does, with our Earth being covered with water, mostly water. So, sure you can imagine. And we're long overdue for that. In a couple decades. Um, there's even a few other things too. It's pretty crazy. There's always Yellowstone too. Now that's possibly manageable, maybe, but not the first thing I said. There's absolutely nothing we can do about that. Literally, there's zero we can do about that. And essentially, it'll just happen. So yeah, I've been getting caught up on a lot of that stuff. Kind of reminding myself of, like what's important and stuff. You think about stuff like that. Because it's like, it really is crazy how delicate everything is right now. Almost like somebody's trying to give us some sort of warning or something, Yeah, man. So, yeah. If the poles suddenly shifted, yeah. Whew. So, I really just can't believe everything that happened today too. Obviously, we're not gonna have any information on that yet either, unfortunately. Here's what it seemed like to me. Here's what it seemed like to me. Now, they showed footage. They blurred it. But they did get him. They got the guy that tried, and so they did blur it though, so we couldn't really see anything. Here's what's crazy. Here's what's weird. Is it just me, or did it kind of seem like he had access? Like, they didn't really show us where he was, like, where he was, but it was like the sort of thing where, like, it just, like, where it looked like he was, and they blurred it, it just looked like he was, like, on top of a building, and so, like, just where it was positioned kind of looked like a similar backdrop to where, like, they were standing and everything. It was the sort of thing where, like, that's just what it looked like to me. But they zoomed in so far that, like, you couldn't really see the surroundings, so it was like, oh man, we don't really know much from that. And that's probably the intent. Which that's good, if they're being as discreet as possible on investigating it. Because I think obviously that's going to be good given that circumstance. You know what I mean? That's just crazy. So I have to say, I loved Biden's response. I thought it was good. I don't know. I didn't watch. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm sure there was probably some mumbling somewhere in there. You know, But I know that the segment that I saw in the little short that I watched of it was his response, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a very well spoken response. He told us, that he hoped to speak with Trump soon, and that he planned to speak with him, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. I think that's awesome. It shows that, essentially the first time, because Biden and Trump don't get along. Trump doesn't really get along with these guys very well, and so for him to show that compassion and reach out, I think that is cool, and so he did say that, and he did condemn it, obviously, as you should, and thank the Secret Service and everything. So yeah, I thought it was a good response, and like I said, the segment that I watched, I'll admit I watched the segment, but the segment I watched didn't have like any like mumbling or anything like that. I thought it was well spoken. So that's good. And I've heard that he's good too. We talked about this earlier, but I've heard that he is safe. I mean, he's probably even out of the hospital. Actually, to be perfectly honest, they probably tried to get him out of there as quick as possible. They probably don't really want him there. So if anybody wants some ideas on how to do some on the road emergency medical services for the president, I've got some great ideas that would be very beneficial for anybody in the Secret Service to try to keep the president secure. I have some excellent ideas, but I don't obviously want to say them here. It's the sort of thing where if anybody would reach out to me, I would definitely give you some ideas that I've had for how to do something like that. It's the sort of thing where, like, I love to think about strategy, being a martial artist and everything. And I've just sort of kind of played scenarios in my mind. Well, if I was Secret Service, like, what would I do? And so, like, I've just sort of thought of scenarios and ideas of things that I would do and probably change right away, or essentially try to just give my 2 cents, essentially my value, my worth to them. And definitely have thought of a bunch of stuff that I think would be valuable if they haven't, if they also haven't already thought of it, which they probably have. Let's be honest, they're probably really smart. But if not, that's the point. Is I have some good ideas. Well, at least one solid one. But that's if it's willing to be heard. But again, I'm not gonna say it here. I'm not gonna say it here. I'm sure it's the sort of thing where, to me, it sounds obvious, but maybe they've never thought of it. I don't know. Like it's that sort of thing where, like, when you have an idea, sometimes, like, honestly, truthfully, there's so many times where I was like, man, that's a pretty good idea, but I'm sure somebody probably already did it. And then somebody did it after I freaking didn't decide to go through and follow up on my own idea. So yeah, I've definitely recognized that. Well, to me, it might seem like something that somebody else would think of, but that's because I thought of it. So that's literally it. That's all there is to it. That's my perspective. But yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna stay here. I need a drink. I'm gonna get a drink. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you so much. We got 3 likes in here. What's up, guys? Thank you. Appreciate you. Oh my goodness. What's up? What's up, guys? Anybody left? So, anyway, I really hope that more people sort of treat the current election, like moving forward, with dignity, I guess. Is that the right word? How about respect? There's a word. How about that? Let's give respect to Joe Biden, and let's give respect to Donald Trump moving forward. Let's not be hateful. Let's not be, and especially to people, supporters. I think that that's like just as important. If not more so. If not more so, because somebody that's a supporter is a potential somebody that maybe you could even meet and become friends with or something like that. Like the president, like they're definitely not somebody that you're gonna necessarily be friends with or anything like that. So if not more so, but about the same, I would think, But either way, just respect in general, and mutual understanding that we're just here to try to elect a president. And that democracy is going to win. We have to stand strong and prove that. That's the most important thing here. You guys need to remember that. That's that's what our grandfathers and grandmothers and that's what they all fought for. That's what we have to remember. What's important is anytime we're yelling hate at the other side, stuff like that, we got to remember that, that doesn't help anything. It doesn't, just be correct about your words. Be, willing to look something up, and then that way what you're saying is correct, and then just be informative, be correct, be, like essentially, like, I think what's really important is what kind of drives some people a little bit the wrong way is they spend a lot of time like kind of researching or being informed about it, and then there's just like kind of like it seems like this almost like a big group of people that sort of don't. It's almost as if they just kind of listen to propaganda and stuff like that, and they don't really kind of like look anything up. And I think that a lot of it comes down to that like almost like there's a mutual feeling of disrespect on both sides there, where the one side's kind of insulted because they are looking this stuff up and they are becoming informed, and the other side is claiming that this guy's better and stuff like that without being informed, and then very obviously not looking things up, and then just kind of like listening to the propaganda and just saying the very one-off things that they hear and stuff. And so you have both sides, where one side it's almost as if like, yeah, maybe they do a lot of stuff with their lives, where these guys are maybe mechanics and laborers, and they lead different lives. They think differently because they work 50 to 60 hours a week, and they don't have time to look this stuff up. They got like a full family, and they're always busy with them or working or whatever, and they're family oriented, good hard workers. And it's really just comes down to they sit down after a long day, and this guy on TV tells them he's going to fix everything and make everything better. Of course they want to go for it. Of course they want to they don't got time to read stuff on the internet and look shit up and see if he's actually doing anything or just getting rid of stuff the last guy did. They really don't. And so when the informed crowd comes in and just kind of just spouts insults and hate and stuff like that, it really doesn't help anything. It goes both ways. So both sides just feel insulted, essentially. And really what it is like it's exactly what I just talked about. One has the ability and time to do so, and the other doesn't. Does that make sense? That's the way I see it. So this isn't going to be like a recurring theme for us to be all political or anything, guys. This is today. Goes without saying. I mean, that's an attack on America. You just don't do that. I mean, that's. And by the way, I was really, really, really impressed and proud when Trump stood up and put his hand in the air. I did like that. I'll admit that. I did really like that. And I also liked that the crowd, when he did that, instead of chanting his name, they chanted USA. Appreciate that. So, I want you guys to know that, like, I recognize the goodness, and I see it all the time. Just because I don't talk about it or say it doesn't mean I don't see it. Trump's gonna win now, though. You know that, right? I still can't say that, like, I would necessarily consider him the candidate I would go for. But as I've stated before, if he is elected and if he is president again, I will respect it. As I did before, I will say once again, okay, let's give him a chance. Second time around, he's going to pick different people this time. He doesn't have Pence in there. Let's give him a chance. I'm going to say the same thing I said the first time. That's exactly what I said the first time. Essentially, when everybody else is like, oh, this is the end of the world, and stuff like that. I'm like, no, just give him a chance, And so, after I gave him a chance the first time, I'll be honest, after coming off of Obama, I really didn't like him. I really didn't. If you look at what he did, I'm just being honest, a lot of what he did was just getting rid of some stuff that Obama put in place that was good. It's a lot of what he could have spent his time doing, and he only did that because it made the voters happy. If he gets rid of something Obama did, it just makes him look good to his voters. And a lot of times that's the point, that's the disconnect, is like, well, it's not always the best thing, and I think maybe he's realizing that. I hope. I don't know. But that's my point, is I just I definitely see him in a new light, for sure. For showing the strength that he showed after a near-death experience. You can't deny that. You really can't. And that's why he's gonna win. Because even if I am, I mean, like, that's it. His approval rating's probably gonna skyrocket tomorrow. Biden's has been dropping too. I think at this point, I gotta be honest, I love Biden. I do, because I think his administration's really good. I just think that people can't get over the age and the mumbling and stuff. And so, like, when we know he's not gonna win, I think if they expect to actually have a candidate that can hold their own, I think at this point he does need to. I think, considering what happened today, now maybe he's up to the challenge. Maybe this is gonna set a fire off for him or something. Like light a fire under him. Maybe it might. You never know. I will say that, like I said, the clip that I saw, he really did appear to be very sincere about what he was saying. I do believe him to be a sincere guy, and that's sort of kind of why I kind of like one versus the other, if I'm being sincere with you guys. Um, Sincerity is important to me. I think that was a real big thing with me with the other one when he was president, was just that he would just I never knew what was going on. I'd have to spend so much time looking stuff up because he just never said any, like, he wasn't very informative. And then like he would Sean Spicer, right? That was his name, right? The guy, the first guy. I thought he tried so hard, and then Trump just fired him. So I just like just there were times where like I just didn't really care for some of the stuff that he did and some of the people that he just randomly fired. Just because he didn't like him. But regardless of that, like I said earlier, regardless of that, I will still respect whatever the outcome is and wish him all the best and hope he does well and hope he does better than he did before. Because I want you guys to truly understand that like I don't tell you information because I think it's right. I tell you what I tell you because it's something that I've collectively come to understand over comparing stuff, looking things up over the years. It's really important. Obama actually warned us about this. If you guys remember, he said it's going to be extremely important to be bipartisan moving forward. And he said the warning that he had was that he was really concerned that moving forward that people were not going to be willing to be bipartisan anymore. And Obama really was. He really, really was. Well, the whole time in office, and that's why so many people, what people don't get, what the voters don't get, is he was so successful because he was able to work with other people in our government. People liked him. Other politicians liked him. He was very liked. I mean, when Obama entered the room, it just hit different. So, and I think that's partially what motivated Trump too. So if anything, Obama motivated Trump, and people have actually kind of proven this. The part where he's like kind of laying into him a bit at the one dinner where Trump visited the White House. Even people kind of like, yeah, that's probably the moment he decided, right? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, maybe it lit a fire under him too. Like, we have to look at it like, I don't know if he motivated him and he won. Doesn't that mean Obama motivates people? I'm just. So anyway, a lot of people really liked him. That's how he got things done. Trump's not going to get anything done if people don't like him. He has to appoint people that are willing to come up with plans that make sense, that won't cost you guys like an arm and a leg after he leaves office. And that's the sort of stuff they're gonna, I think, be looking out for, because that's what you guys, what a lot of the voters I think don't see, is that's what's happened. A lot of what the Republicans try to do is their plan, their ploy is essentially because the voters don't know how it works and don't know how long things take, and they count on that. Essentially what they do is they make a plan that will affect you in a negative way but positive now. So essentially it looks like the current sitting president did something to help you, But in essence, it'll actually help the rich guy, help the politician, and now in about 4 years, it'll hurt your wallet. So that is typically what I've seen out of that party. As far as like, um, trying to get things passed, like uh, medical and stuff like that too, like just taxes and stuff like that. Um, so the point is, that actually is sort of kind of what he did a little bit too, with that tax cut, as he called it. It wasn't really a cut. It was a cut at the time, and now you're seeing the now the hike from it. So that's the little game they've been running. So that's why, like, it's very easy for the folks that have like long, hardworking jobs and full family, stuff like that do typically vote Republican, that really kind of just don't have time to look this stuff up, won't really get. It's not their fault, and I'm not blaming them. That's why I always say it's about education. Like, it doesn't even mean that they're dumb. Like, they're probably not. That's the point. Like, they're probably just busy working. It's probably an engineer or something. That's not somebody that's dumb. That's just somebody that doesn't know about politics. So I really wish these smart people would stop pretending like they do. Like, just look it up. Just figure it out. And the sooner you do, the sooner you can start realizing that, like, who you vote for shouldn't have any relevance to any one thing. Does that make sense? Like, the president of the United States, you should consider a bunch of different things. Like, do a pros and cons list or something. Don't be like, I want to vote for him because of this. It's that simple. Don't do that. Have a bunch of reasons. And do a pros and cons list or something like that for both of them. It's important to remember that with Biden, while I understand the worry is like the mental decline and stuff like that, like the pauses and stuff. God, when he says Putin instead of Zelensky, that's so, like, yeah, I get it. Like, even I face palm just thinking about it. I get it. That's the point. I do. So, what you have to realize about that is that the ethics are still there, the sincerity is still there. So and the years and years and years of doing it is still there. So the muscle memory of doing the task and the job is still there. He still knows how to do the job. He knows how it works. He was vice president for how many years too? And not only that, but he's a career politician. So he knows how the job works. What you have to realize is just that he says things incorrect sometimes. He's not very good at talking, certainly not very good at moving around. Put that guy in a chair and he's great. Yeah, I think he should spend a lot of time in a chair. Well, didn't FDR? No, not FDR. Who was the one that had polio? Didn't he eventually end up in a wheelchair or something like that while he was president? So, like, the point is, people want to make this very physical. And so, like, the point is, yeah, I get that you can laugh at him and you can, like, I saw this one person make a short where his chopper arrived and they were trying to pretend like it was like the Secret Service audio or something of when the chopper arrived. I wonder how many people thought it was really the audio. It was done very well, but it was just a joke, guys. Like, you won't be able to get that audio. Like, you're not gonna hear that. Like, that's just a joke. Like, somebody's just making fun of him. So, yeah, like he couldn't put his jacket on. Do you guys understand? Have you ever gotten onto a helicopter? I'll bet you haven't. Okay, when you get on a helicopter, everything that you have, and just everything, is now moving that way and that way. Because there's a gigantic freaking propeller spinning at several thousand miles per hour above your head. 100, sorry, 100. So, yeah, okay, yeah. The point is, when he stepped off, he should have known not to put his jacket on there. That was just like, that was what he should have realized. So the point was, get away from the chopper, then put your jacket on. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna look kind of like an idiot because it's gonna get sucked up into the propeller. You're gonna drop your glasses, which he did. I'll note though that when he fell, his glasses fell. He bent down to one knee and picked them up by himself. Nobody's talking about that. Okay, so like people focus like on all these other things, and they don't know the good things that he does. They're just so after him. So I just the point is, guys, like, yeah, I can sit here and pick, Trump. I don't, as far as I know, because of his weight and stuff, I don't think Trump can bend down to one knee to pick something. I think he could bend over. I think if he tried to go down to one knee, he'd do the wobble thing where he puts his hand on his other knee and has to like put his hand down. He sort of kind of like needs help getting back up then. The point is, Biden can go down to one knee. If Biden fell on his hip or something, like fell all the way down, he's gonna need help getting up, because if he tries to get up from that, it's the sort of thing where he could end up falling again, and then he okay, then two times, you're falling too many times when you're that old. It's the sort of thing where like you just don't realize like hips work a little differently when you're all the way down. So the point is, I can sit here and pick on Trump's health and stuff like that too. The point is, with Biden, it's just like more apparent, more like in your face. So it's very easy for them to use the propaganda and stuff like that. So this is my point towards why Trump's going to win now. And so the point is, like, that exact thing will work to Trump's advantage, but in reverse order, essentially, because he and like I said, even I did recognize it though too. Like he got up, put his fist in the air, and showed his spirit, showed his fighting spirit. So like that's the point. Is yeah, all right, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's the point. He won't give up, So. Like I said, guys, we're not gonna necessarily make it a regular thing to get political, but you're gonna have to understand that for sure, like when stuff like this happens, like something big, it's like you can't not talk about it. It's expected. Yeah, it's like, what's he talking about? I'm gonna go, like obviously I'm gonna talk about it because I'm thinking about it too. Emotional support pickle. Interesting name. Gotham City needs you, Ka-chow. Thanks for the like, by the way. Thank you so much. We got 4 likes in here. You guys are awesome. Playing any games tonight, guys? We haven't played anything for that, have we? So, are we playing games tonight, or are we just... I think we're just chilling. I don't know. Are we playing a game? Should we play a game? Play something. It's been a long day, but I'm sort of a little more awake than I expected. A little bit. I'd play like a horror game or something. You know, I'll be honest, I've been in the mood for like some of these really fun like ambient like horror games that we were playing. You guys know how we played that pools game? Remember when we played pools? That was fun, right? I liked that. That was a fun stream. And I would actually be really interested in playing something kind of like that again. Or we, you know, like just it's more like an ambient horror game where it's sort of like it's more of like it's more about like, you know, like the atmosphere, the sounds, things like that. I definitely had fun playing pools. If you guys remember when we played pools on the channel. The graphics were surprisingly decent. I was actually kind of surprised. Oh, that's really good. So again, guys, my thoughts have been with Trump all day. You know, I hope that this does not happen again. I hope that you know, you know, obviously, I hope that this is the single and only time this happens. I hope that there's not even another attempt. But for sure, Secret Service, I'm sure they're going to beef up security and stuff, following what happened and everything, as they should. And again, I'm definitely, my thoughts are still with him. Regardless of how I feel about, you know, politics and stuff like that. He was still the president. He's still a person, too. So what's really sad, too, is apparently at least one person was passed away from the shooter. So, And I guess a couple other people got injured too. But yeah, it's the sort of thing where I think they said something like how, like essentially it was a pretty lucky shot. And honestly, like to me it looked really lucky too, almost like he turned his head kind of like just in time almost. Kind of crazy. That's how it looked. Because, like, the angle the dude was at, he didn't really have a very good angle, to be honest. And so, yeah, like, if Trump turned his head, that's the end of it. And that's exactly what happened. Trump just happened to turn his head and clipped his ear. That's what it was. It was Trump's right ear. It was Trump's right ear, and clipped it. It flips it, by the way. Sometimes, if you're looking at me and you're like, that's not your right ear, by the way, sometimes it flips it. So, so maybe you guys, I don't know if you guys are seeing it reverse or not. It shouldn't be right now, but just in case. While I'm live, it really shouldn't flip it. So anyway, horror game. I might be coerced into playing a horror game. I have to figure out what I feel like doing though. For doing a horror, because I usually don't have them just installed. I would have to figure out what I'm gonna do. I think we started New Game Plus on Resident Evil Village. Yeah, we started New Game Plus on that. So there's always that. Obviously, I already beat that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to New Game Plus that. So we're New Game Plusing that, and then I'm trying to think what else I've been working on. I've been working on stuff. Like, I'm not like not doing stuff. Well, so like I was busy today, like I am still working on like the content goals. You guys know what those goals are from time to time. But we can actually talk a little bit about that if you want. But like it's more like you guys know I like to get like 100% and like to be completionist and some stuff. So a lot of times we'll do some streams and get some stuff done. But like with me on my channel, it's more like I try to do content that's sort of like while we're playing games that maybe other people haven't necessarily tried, or they didn't really give a chance or something like that, and then they just kind of like come in, see me playing it, and they're like, hey, that's pretty cool, what's that? Or like, or they see it in the title and they can they can comment on how like maybe they never played it or something and they didn't even really think about playing it, but now they're like watching me play it, and it's the sort of thing where like they never really necessarily saw gameplay or anything like that, before, but like I'm playing it and talking about it and I like it and stuff like that, and maybe it motivates them to go get it or something, or at least try it, and whereas they would otherwise, I mean, it's a game that's like 2 or 3 years old by now or something like that, and they would have never even thought to pick it up. But like I said, they've never seen gameplay, but they just happen to stop in my stream and see me playing this game, and like, you know what? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I never thought that I would like that type of game, or that game in particular, but seeing the gameplay now, and you talking about how you like it, and I have seen people do that with my content, where they ended up buying something that they might not necessarily get into. And I appreciate that. That's what I like to do is help people discover new genres they might not even consider too. Definitely something that like I want to do with music too. Like I all the time I talk about how I'm the guy that I sit here and I'll listen to metal, but I'll also recognize that flat out there's a huge amount of talent in the K-pop industry too. And it's like so many people make fun of this stuff, and it's like, you know what? Why? Like I there's so much talent there. Like just because the music isn't something that you would normally receive as, like as the stuff that you listen to, doesn't mean it's not or is invalid in some way. It just means that it's something that you aren't used to hearing, and it's very different for you. And part of the problem is that most people, when they hear that and they're around other people, there's always that initial response that people have made. Whereas if you don't get on board with them to dislike this thing, then they're not going to like you very much. And so like people just sort of kind of typically just jump on board with that anymore. And I'm always the guy that's sitting here telling you and fully admitting that I like this band and this band and this band, and I really don't care what anybody thinks. And so I want to definitely do that with games too, and that's something that I've always done. If somebody's like, that game's crap or something like that, it's like, well, that's great that you think that, but there's this reason that I like it. So and so that's a lot of like what I like to do with my content. For those of you wondering, like about like the long streams and stuff like that, a lot of that's just about trying to get enough people to essentially see what I'm playing and maybe like it. Definitely we stream more PC than anything, but lately I've been doing stuff with my my Xbox Series X. So I did start with pretty much only PC gaming, but yeah, we have lately been doing stuff with the Xbox Series X. So yeah, we were playing Forza Horizon 5. We were playing Elden Ring. And we do play the Series X sometimes. Part of why I do that is essentially, like I talked about this before, like as far as like technical specifications, it is the most powerful console. I don't care what they say, it literally is. And not just like, people really underestimate the Series X, because I think some people bought the Series S, or maybe even a bunch of people bought the Series S, and it really doesn't measure up. It really is different. That's that's the only thing I justify, because like that's the point, is like that thing is so smooth, and then if you have a TV with HDR, it's like um, you can really tell it was just made for that, and the just insane, like it is just I I couldn't believe when I started a game up. I just could not believe, like, in 4K, how detailed everything looked. So one of the things I noticed that totally blew me away was just like Forza Horizon 5. You're playing as, like, the graphics are insane, right? Yet I'm driving like 200 miles an hour in that game, and it's still looking good. Yep. So that's partially what I want to do with the Series X. Is essentially just try to help people realize it's not what people think it is. It's a solid competitor, in my opinion. There's a lot of reasons. Trying to think of what we should play. We're gonna play anything or not. I don't really necessarily need to. You know what I mean? I just thought, since I was awake enough, if you guys were hanging out, if anybody came in. But if we're not, like, that's what we do. I'm gonna get caught up on some stuff. Alright, guys. Are we entertained? I appreciate everybody watching this. We got the 4 likes. We got a bunch of concurrence in this one. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Take care.